kind of rough.
Yeah, good thing these modern tanks rolled into keep peace.
I'll say, but it won't last long. That's only the end of round 1. The dino fighting's just begun.
Hey, check out this deltoid. What do you think Bob would think of that?
I think you'd rank it right up there with the Stegosaurus.
Hey, thanks. I've been doing a couple of push-ups. Now all I need is a spiked tail. But did you see how Steggy went toe-to-toe with that Allosaurus in that cartoon?
He's got guts, I'll give you that. Unfortunately, sometimes the smallest things can bring down a strong man like Stegosaurus. Round 2.
Hey, it's Scenic Garden Park, Colorado.
It was the scene of one of the saddest chapters in the story of our Stegosaurus. Yes, it was here that Steggy finally met its match.
You're telling me that little guy took on Stegosaurus and won?
No, that's Ken Carpenter. He's the Bonehead detective who's uncovering the remains of a female Stegosaurus, one of the most complete skeletons ever found.
I don't see a skeleton.
That's because it's buried inside this rock. Ken and his team of bone diggers broke out the heavy equipment and dug the whole skeleton out in one piece.
Unfortunately, since that piece was mostly rock, it weighed over 5 tons.
They had to build the support structure, so the whole thing wouldn't squash them like bugs.
And on top of that, this plaster wrapping paper added an extra 3,000 pounds.
But they had to put it on to protect the bones from cracking.
No offense to Ken's team, but I don't think they've got the deltoids to get that rock out of there.
It's gonna take more than muscle to move this big mama. Call in the Whirlybird. That's a Chinook helicopter on loan from the U.S. Army.
They've got the patient laid out on their stretcher, and they're rushing her back to the lab for some testing.
Once he got all the rock chipped away, Ken took a look at the tail spikes. 3 of them were healthy and practically bursting with life.
Which is strange, considering that Steggy's been dead for 100 million years or so.
But when Ken examined the 4th spike, he noticed something even more strange.
Yeah, it was a mess. Somehow it had gotten broken and mangled and all gross. It was just plain nasty. Disgusting.
Good thing there was someone less squeamish on the scene. Lori McQuinney uses the CAT scanner to look for hidden clues.
I thought about the trauma when I first saw this. I thought, geez, what could have happened that this spike could have ended up in this condition?
This sci-fi looking thing is kind of like an x-ray machine. It lets Lori see what the spikes look like on the inside.
Now this is one of the healthy Stegosaurus spikes. Lori discovered it grew in layers, like the rings of a tree.
Now check out the picture on her computer screen. That's what the damaged spike looked like. I told you it was gross, but at least now Lori could figure out what happened.
Bacterium would have entered in through the wound and virtually ate away the bone inside.
It was almost like termites eating a log. Now the question is, how did the bacteria get into the spike in the first place?
Lori thinks Steggy might have messed up the spike herself. She could have been fighting and accidentally banged her tail against a tree. The spikes were harder than an elephant's tusk, but I guess some things were even harder.
I guess so. After she was hurt, Ken thinks she went looking for food, but she got too weak to go on. He found her bones in an ancient pond where she laid her head for the last time.
That is so depressing. On the lighter side, most stegosaurs would have lived much happier lives. They had everything going for them. Not only those awesome tail spikes for shish-kebabbing their enemies, they also had their world-famous backplates.
But the experts still disagree on exactly how the backplates were arranged. Dino detective Ken Carpenter thinks he may have a lead.
Hey, what's up with the elephants?
We need them to help illustrate Ken's theory. See, elephants use their ears like huge air conditioners. They flap them in the wind, which cools the blood. That blood circulates through the rest of their bodies and cools off the whole elephant.
And that's what Stegosaurus plates were for?
According to Ken, yeah. He thinks that blood ran through the plates and did the same kind of thing. And to prove it, he came here, to the windiest place in the world.
Chicago.
No, Sam. Actually, this is Ken's friendly neighborhood wind tunnel.
Oh, I knew that. No one loves a wind tunnel more than me. See, the smoke shows Ken how the air moved when it blew over Steggy's backplates.
Here's my Stegosaurus on a very hot day. It turns its body sideways to the wind, and as the breeze passes over the plates, it causes the wind to become turbulent, and all the heat is then pulled into the wind, thereby cooling the animal off.
So, in other words, this arrangement of backplates would have cooled the Stegosaurus off, just like the elephant's ears cool them off.
Well, I still have this nagging feeling that the plates might have had another purpose, besides thermoregulation.
Another purpose for the plates besides thermal regulation might be illustrated by these two skeletons. We can imagine a scene 145 million years ago with the Stegosaurus walking through the forest being stalked by an Allosaurus. Once the Stegosaurus is starting to feel threatened, it might turn its body sideways and increase blood flow into the plates, causing them to blush and stand out against the forest greens. It would certainly make itself look bigger and more intimidating. This is kind of like a cat when it's angry, arches its back, fluff up its fur, makes itself look bigger. The plates would certainly have that function in the Stegosaurus.
So let me get this straight. He cooled himself off like an elephant, made himself look bigger like a cat. Huh, Steggy was more than just a living tank. He was a whole zoo all rolled into one animal.
Yeah, Stegosaurus had a lot going for him, but there were still predators out for his hide.
And he's still not safe. See, the Cretaceous was full of hungry meat eaters. And with evolution in full swing, they were getting meaner by the minute.
That's why the plant eaters had to keep up. It wasn't enough anymore just to sport a few armored plates on your back.
And with its spiked tail, can-do attitude, and famous mohawk, Stegosaurus was a pretty awesome fighter.
They weren't the only armored dinosaurs in the regiment. The carnosaurs were sharpening their claws, and the dino tanks had to be ready to rumble. This is eastern Utah, a part of the country known for its dinosaurs.
And its van races.
I think they're just in a hurry to find the fossils that are hidden around here somewhere. Since it's impossible to dig up the whole desert, this couple figured out a way to go prospecting for fossils without a shovel.
This is one of the most scintillating inventions in the field of paleontology. It's called the scintillation counter, and it measures radiation. Ray and Carol Jones thought this gadget might help them find dinosaurs.
Why? Well, to build the atom bomb, nuclear physicists needed the radioactive mineral uranium.
A lot of times, the miners found dinosaur bones along with the uranium. Then it turned out the bones were a little radioactive, too.
There he goes. There he is.
There it is.
There he is. That's what we need him.
The radiation Ray and Carol are picking up isn't dangerous, though. It's just strong enough to let them know there might be something down there.
Okay, that's 2.2.
And he's straight down.
So yeah, it must be a, probably it might be a big vertebrae in there.
Everyone thought they were just a couple of crazy amateurs and that their system would bomb. That is until they started finding buried paleo treasure. That made boneheads like Don Burge sit up and take notice.
The radiation method saved them lots of time because they knew where to dig right from the start.